Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Apostate Weekly. I'm your host, James.
I'm Ryan.
And this week we got talks about the protest that went on in Amsterdam where Stephen Lett was at. We've got a blood transfusion that was given to a witness. I also have an update for you on the assembly hall in India that was attacked last year. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and roll that intro and get into the show. And I already see that other people were getting confused by the links that you put up as well. So, way to go, Ryan.
Morning, everybody.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay. Just making sure. For a second, it seemed like you couldn't. So, got another busy week for you this week. Let's go ahead and start off with what was Stephen Lett doing this week?
Oh, so it looks like there was a protest, and there was someone who was brave enough to sit outside and actually put up signs. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so brave. I love it. Give me just a second, and I'm going to pull it up. Actually, and they also have a website too. Here, let me share that with you as well, because that's really important. This is the website that was on the sign, and it looks like let me see if I can. It's kind of small. I don't know if I can really make it too much better. Oh, I can also change it. Hold on, let me change the translation to English as well. So basically it's the Foundation Against Watchtower Shunning. It's a Dutch foundation. And I guess I don't know if this is only for people who are over there or if this is for everybody. I would assume it's mostly for them. So if you know anybody who is from that area and would want to fill this out, I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with this, but it says that their goal is to challenge the shunning policy of the Jehovah's Witnesses by filling a collective report. So people are starting to gather information about what these high control religions are doing. They're not going to be able to continue to hide like they have in the past, which is probably one of the reasons the J-dubs are starting to rework, because social media is making it much more difficult to disguise what they're doing. So this is the sign, as you can see, outside of the arena where the Jehovah's Witnesses were holding the convention. Here is a close-up picture. So he had, actually, I'm saying he. I'm just trying to see if it's a man or, I'm actually, you guys, unless you know in the audience, I'm not sure if this was a man or a woman who set this all up.
Well, I know that if you ever watch Goat Like Personalities channel, I know he was over there for the protest too, and he's big into those types of protests and
Yeah, he's
activism that
amazing.
way. And I don't know if he had a hand in the signage or not, but if you went to his Facebook page as well, you could see he has all this up too. And I like how they did this with the signs. They had it both in Dutch and in English as well. So anybody who speaks the two different languages would be able to see and easily understand what the message is they were trying to get across.
Exactly. And at this convention, so Lett was there speaking, so he got a warm welcome. As you can see, one of them even say, warm welcome, Mr. Stephen Lett. And here, just so y'all can see, give me a second, let me pull up. He was actually sat. Here we go. So he was actually sat because supposedly he hurt himself, according to them. He hurt his back or something, had a little fall.
Mm-hmm.
But
sit giving the
Oh,
talk,
sit.
but they say I have a compression fracture in my back.
Okay. So he has a compression fracture in his back, and that is why he has to sit. No other reason. But
That's because of that big mouth he's got on his head.
you know, he fell. As you get older, you're more likely to fall. That's just how it happens. Your balance is a little unstable. Your muscles, joints, etc., don't work like they used to. So the fact that he fell, like that he's falling and hurting himself, is not a good sign, because the next thing is going to be like a broken hip. And like you
Oh,
break a
yeah.
hip, it goes like downhill very quickly. So yeah, if y'all want to see that talk, the links are in the description. If you really want to do that to yourself, I'm not sure why you would, but some people they're into that S&M. That's fine. Sadomasochism. You will find that there. And also, I'll just show you this real quick. There's also a Reddit about the visit, and somebody kind of broke it down really well, which I thought was awesome. Like, I love when people do the work for us so we don't have to do it. But they put highlights of all the miraculous stuff they discussed. Only things that happened to JWs was discussed. So yeah, please go deep dive, find out what's going on with Lett. Let me know if you find out anything, but he's not
And
looking good. This is a downward spiral he's on.
and see, I didn't watch any of his talk from the convention, but I
Just a
well,
couple
I take it
minutes.
back. I watched like a minute or two of it that was on
Same.
social media, and he was joking. He jokingly introduced his talk like he was on a JW broadcast. Like,
Oh yeah, he
how
even did
full
the
of himself
voice.
can he be?
I should have queued up the voice, because he did the JW intro and was like
Yeah,
making a big joke of it. You're
yeah,
watching JW broadcasting.
yeah. Well, not really. It's just like, come on, dude.
He's taking it to his head.
Oh
They
yeah,
they think
absolutely.
he suffers from a reality fracture, Jonathan. But dude
Yes.
really thinks that he's, I don't know, something's loose up there, because he feels like these are his followers.
Well, I mean, he's rubber faced Let, so everything up there is all rubber, anyways. So everything just bounces around in there. Doesn't have any real place to go.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the problem.
Or does he think he's rubber and the audience is glue? I don't know.
we Either way, man should not be in front of an audience dispelling
No.
the myths and the untruths, the false realities that he's been giving people for years.
Well, I
He's under
mean,
Delulu. Like, he's Delulu.
how well has his uh speech about being in the last part of the last days aged from COVID, you know?
Yeah, and again, like, that's just some of the things, typical fashion of Jehovah's Witnesses, that they won't discuss. They're not going to bring that up. Oh, hey, you guys, we could have done ABCD better, or this was no, no.
No,
They
they're
just
not.
pretend like nothing ever happened, and you're supposed to move on and focus on the new thing, that new carrot that they dangle in front of you.
So, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and move on. So I can't remember exactly when it was that um well, actually I can tell you when it was. It was back
Ow.
October 29th, 2023. This is and we reported
Okay.
on this that the week that this happened, about the bombing at the Karalta in India
Oh,
at
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
assembly hall.
Yeah.
And if you remember, this guy, his name was Dominic Martin. He turned himself in. He said he was the one who did it, right? Well, they've just now gotten back the forensic analysis of his bomb, and it really is. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but it was, kind of an ingenious way that he did it. Of course, the results are absolutely terrible from what happened from it, but basically his main um, ammo for it was gunpowder and high intensity firecrackers. And he used two different spots inside the convention center. and he triggered it using a remote control. And let's see, what else does it say? Basically, they had a 180-day deadline to file the charge sheet, and that ends on April 26th. So on Friday, they have to have whatever charges they're going to come out against this guy filed and done. So, and this article was, how was it written? It's not telling me the date on here. It says it was updated today, but I read it a few days ago. So, but anyways, hopefully they get those charges in by Friday and get this guy convicted.
That would be
Because
awesome.
if they get this says here in the article that if they, after filing the charge sheet, they will move to court for expediting the trial concerning the nature of the crime and the death toll. So he may be facing the death penalty as a result of his actions.
Good. Deserved.
Yeah.
Deserved. People should not be getting away with those. I mean, geez, oh grief, the amount of people he could have harmed.
And he did harm people. He killed people in that
Yeah,
blast.
he already
You
did.
know?
He already did.
So
He just could have.
it could have been worse too. It absolutely could have been worse, depending on the concentration of people near the
Right.
blast and all that. You
The
know,
building could have felt that, like, it was already
Yeah.
bad, like part of the building, like, caught on fire and stuff. But like you're working with explosives, like like you're building your own. I don't even want to say the word because who knows what the frick will YouTube will say, but I can't imagine what reality you live in where you think that is an appropriate response and will solve problems. Like at that point in your brain, you're not a problem solver. Like this isn't a solution. You're just
No.
angry. You're just you have a vendetta and want revenge. Like that's sick to take the time to do that kind of research and put these tools together. Like that's fucked up, bro.
And that's where you really get into the very truest sense of an angry apostate.
Right. And
And
that's not what we want to be. And I don't think that's
No.
who we are or who we
It-
will ever be.
No, it's people like him who give us a bad reputation.
Exactly.
Oh, because the witnesses will go, see what those apostates do? They go and blow up places when they get mad and angry.
Right.
No, we don't. He is an isolated incident,
Exactly.
and it is not representative of the majority. No more so is a bad elder in a congregation a representative of all the elders around the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate that that's the terminology they use. What can we do? We can't avoid it. They're always going to try to correlate any bad guy with us.
Of course, they've always got to demonize the outside world, and it's always the us versus them mentality, the black and white, and these are just things that they use to show their people that they're really the truth and this is the true religion because of these things that happen to us. Of course, they happen to everybody else too in the world, not just them.
Well, the fact that they kind of, in many ways, almost encourage this behavior, because as much as it's like disgusting, the organization is protected, so they don't really care if their members get harmed, because all
yeah.
press is really good press. I mean, except for like the sexual abuse, those things are not good press, but everything else, it's almost like they can spin it. They can spin it into their own little web of how they're the victim.
Mm-hmm.
They like being the victim, man. And quite frankly, XJWs, Christians were all programmed to have that victim mentality. It is just, it's one and the same, because you're supposed to be like Jesus, and Jesus was punished and tortured. And if that's not happening to you, you're not doing it right. So if they're coming after us trying to kill us, then we're doing it good.
Well, I guess we must be the true religion too, because we get punished and tortured by them.
Oh, see, now we can flip the script.
Exactly. I liked flipping the script on them,
Flip
and
it
I
right
don't give a
back on.
flip.
Yeah. Flip
Jeez.
you, buddy. Flip you.
Sorry, my dogs are being really loud right now.
They're being rude.
I know. How rude, dogs. Dogs, you're being rude.
Don't you know we're supposed to train you up in the ways of Jehovah, and that means you have to be silent during our meetings.
That's right.
No
Oh,
talking.
if I
Go to
only
the
had
back room.
that power for them.
Yeah.
Have a mute button for the dogs.
Now that would be something. I'd be using that mute button for everywhere.
Okay, so moving on. Do you remember several months ago we talked about, and this is out of France, there was a witness that was in the hospital and they needed there was a possibility that they might need a blood transfusion, right? And I know there's at least Dale, I know you've never been a Jehovah's Witness, so Jehovah's Witnesses don't accept blood transfusions. They do accept what they call blood fractions. It's a mind bender, I'm sorry. But basically you could take parts of the whole blood, but you can't take the whole blood itself. Of course, you could just go back and tell your elders, I only took fractions, even though, 4 out of 4 is fractions technically.
Why not just lie about it at that point? Quite frankly. I mean, I know JWs don't like to lie, even though technically they lie all the time, but they aren't aware of that. They're not aware that they're like always
But
lying.
there are people in the religion who have died as a result of not having blood transfusions when needed. They did a whole freaking magazine article on it in the 90s about children who died for refusing blood transfusions. Oh my goodness, those dogs are so loud. I am so sorry. I hope you can still hear me okay over them.
Yeah, I can. I mean, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, but you're right. I think that unfortunately, like maybe if I were a JW and I wanted to get around it, and I would maybe just say like, oh yeah, I took the fractions. I didn't take but it doesn't make sense to me. Like it's still coming from the same thing. Like, right? Like you're taking it from a human and you're breaking it down. But if the issue is it's coming from a human and God doesn't like that, what is the difference that you broke it down? Because now the rest has gone to waste, and that's almost like even worse. So not only did you take the blood from the person, you got rid of some of the other shit that was needed just to take a little bit that really might not even do all the work that you needed to do. It's gymnastics for me.
And on top of all that, you are not allowed as a Jehovah's Witness to donate blood so others can have those fractions either. So it's a really hypocritical stance when you really think about it.
Well, that's typical. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of the governing body at some point might need a blood transfusion and they'd take it. You're never going to see a headline saying governing body dies of saying no to a blood transfusion. Behind the scenes, MFer would take that blood.
Oh, I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on to the story, though, I just wanted to give some context for it to help the audience understand a little bit better. So in France, there was this witness. He's been in the hospital. There's a possibility that to save their life, they need to have a blood transfusion. Now, what's helped with this decision from the court, and the court has ruled allowing the hospital to give a blood transfusion if necessary. So that's the good part right there. Okay. What's really helped, though, this person did not have an advanced medical directive filled out ahead of time either.
Oh, oopies.
And because this person is been in a state where they're not able to speak for themselves on this issue, this is also why the court has ruled to be able to give this person a transfusion if they need it, because they're not cognizant enough to make their own decisions and talk and let the hospital know, no, I don't want this. That's so no directive, not cognizant enough to make their own decisions. This is why the court has ruled like this to let this person get a transfusion if needed. They're not in distress, Joe and Fran. They're just barking at my kids upstairs because they always bark at everything coming downstairs. They're just loose in the house. That's all.
They're running rampant.
Yes.
Actually,
They're running
you're
amok.
the pet. You didn't know that you're the pet.
I'm the pet, yeah.
You're the pet. They're the owner.
Shoot, if I'm the pet, why aren't they feeding me and taking care of my crap?
Hey, you put with it. You trained them.
I know, right?
Yeah, I completely like get what you're saying, Alexander. And sometimes like I struggle with that word. I'm like, should I be identifying myself as a word that other people use as derogatory? You know what I mean? Like, and I totally get like people want to take a word and take ownership of it, which is like what we're doing. But I can see how some people like that's a difficult thing, like like people use the N word or the bitch word, like girls. Like there's so many things that we take and language is fun. That's all I'm going to say. Language is fun.
It is. And the only time I think you're ever going to really get through to somebody when it comes to terms like that is if you're able to sit them down and have a conversation with them and they actually actively listen to what you're saying about it and you to them. Because otherwise, if they're not willing to do that, they're just going to demonize you as far as whatever label they want to label you at.
Right. And I think that with anything, having face-to-face genuine conversation is where it's at and where you're going to be able to dispel myths. But unfortunately, I don't think that it's easy to engage with Jehovah's Witnesses and having like real conversations. It is very surface level because that's how they're programmed to be. And anytime they hit a wall, right? Like anytime that cognitive dissonance is triggered, they've got to bounce off of it and beep. So, you can only do but so much, which is why I understand why we've kind of got to like take the term back from them because they might not just get it. They might not be able to.
It's one of those things that I don't like to really dispel myths. I like to bust myths. I'm a myth buster.
I just love that show. That was a good show.
It was a good show. And these guys here, who the hell do they think they are? Like just interrupting our show like this. Like,
well, you know how the GB are.
I mean, Jesus, guys. I mean, how many times do we got to tell you? You cannot just interrupt the show. Now, you can come on the show if you want, and we could talk about these things, but you can't just interrupt it. But it's still our show. It's not yours.
Got it, pal. We're the boss, applesauce.
There we go. Oh, yes, Jonathan. Oh, yes. Did you see that with the oh my gosh. Why is her name slip? Oh, the singer. Her name is slipping my head right now. Oh my God.
A JW singer?
No, not a JW singer. Oh. Taylor Swift. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Taylor Swift. She has a mention of a Jehovah Witness suit in one of her new songs.
Shut your face hole.
Yeah. But okay, I actually wanted to talk about this morning too.
I did not know that, you guys. Okay.
Hang on.
I gotta write this down.
The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived is the name of the song. Okay? So, and it's not even like talking about Jehovah's Witnesses, really. It's just a reference as for the culture. But I'm going to actually read the section of the lyrics.
Yeah, because I want to know if it's like derogatory, if it's like, what is it? Yeah, neutral.
Okay. The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived is the name of the song. Here's what it says. Was any of it true? You gazing at me starry-eyed in your Jehovah's Witness suit. Who the fuck was that guy? You tried to buy some pills from a friend of friends of mine. They just ghosted you. Now you know what it feels like.
So wait, who's the guy in the Jehovah's Witness suit? Is it just like a bystander, like a passerby?
I think from what I can get of the song is it's not referencing a Jehovah's Witness specifically. It's just referencing somebody dressed like that, and that's like the character of this guy, what he looks like.
Okay, but is the guy doing anything bad, or he's just standing around? Sorry, I couldn't really understand the context. My bad. I can read it later. It's not. I'll read it later. It's fine. I just find that interesting. She would say Jehovah's Witness suit, and it makes me wonder: is it a good reference or is it a negative reference?
It's not a good reference if you read the lyrics to the rest of the song, because she's really downplaying this guy. But it was just a reference to that. And I've seen I haven't watched anybody's videos on this at all, because I'm like, because I read the lyrics myself and I listened to the song, and there's really not anything to really put into it, really. You know, it would be no more so than us making a reference to Mormons for their culture, or, any other religion. I think that's all it was just like Jay said, a metaphor, that's it.
Fuck me.
Probably.
That's what I was wondering. Like, what are they trying to? Okay, because I was wondering, like, is this like something paid for, where it's like a positive reference, or is this like a? Okay, this is negative.
Yeah, it's definitely not positive.
Now, will the JWs see it as such? I wonder, or will they take it as like, oh, our name was mentioned? I'd love to know how they'll
probably be more like, oh, Jehovah's Witnesses were mentioned in a Taylor Swift song. Yay.
Yeah, like, are they going to think it's a good thing and not realize, like, like, homie's being made fun of. He's got a cheap suit. Like, Goodwill suit. Sorry. No offense.
And then she goes on to bash the guy more in the song. So, yeah, it's not really good.
Wowsies. That's so funny. Okay. I'm glad to know that.
Thank you for reminding me of that, y'all. I appreciate that.
That was fun.
So let's see here. Do you have anything else you want to talk about this morning?
The only thing that I wanted to tell anybody in the audience is, if anyone is interested in making content for AC, with AC, like any one of us, like if any of y'all like are interested in doing some kind of show, it doesn't have to be with me. It can be any one of you, but like, we're willing to host you on AC if you'd like to, or if you want to help with any shows, things of that nature, we would truly appreciate it and welcome you. And of course, we have our lovely Discord server, which I can get the link for you. So that way, if you'd like to join and talk to us, but I will just tell you, this is a safe space. Please do not come in Apostate Coalition and number one, spam. Like, just know that's going to be no. Do not talk derogatory about anybody. We are all, deconstructing humans in different parts of the process, like of this journey, if you will. So please keep that in mind. And as well, a lot of us like to keep our anonymity for many reasons, as I'm sure you can understand, being Jehovah's Witnesses, that a lot relies on being disfellowshipped or not, whether or not we can have contact with our family. So don't come in asking our real names, our addresses, where we're from. Like, you can ask where we're from and people will either tell you or they won't, but don't go asking age and birth. Just until you get to know people, don't be in their DMs doing that weird stuff, because that already just gives me the ick. It makes me feel like you're not a JW because you don't understand how important it is to like remain anonymous.
Yeah, but when you join, if you want to join, though, we need to have your name, age, location, social security name,
blood
number,
type,
mother's maiden name, blood type, where you work, and
signature.
At least 3 legit references.
Yeah, we want references too. We want a whole CV, y'all.
That's
But
right.
but please, and that's just gonna set off alarms and give people like a weird vibe if you're coming in new and immediately you're asking those, like, we haven't even had a chance to get to know you. Okay.
Dale, the first street I lived
Right.
on is called Nunya.
What's your star sign?
What's your star sign?
I just want a roundabout time that you were born. That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, don't call us chaos. That's only Sam does that for us. Thanks, Sam. Your check's in the mail, my friend. FYI.
Yes. It'll arrive in the new system.
Yeah, whenever that comes.
Right.
But please, y'all, I'm so serious. Like, I've been wanting to do like a girly pop, like a girly boo show, like me and another female do some kind of like news gossip about cults, stuff, things of that MLM, like something like that. I don't know. I'm up for whatever.
You can be the apostate gossipers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even
The
care.
OGs with the AGs.
The AGs. Of course. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Was
well,
that hold on, let me just make sure that was it. Yes, I gave you the website, Largewood, Reddit, Stephen Lett. Yep, that's that.
Okay, I had one other thing I wanted to cover this morning. This is out of Memphis, and this should just be a brief little story here. So 6 Memphis nonprofit organizations are sharing grant funding, and excuse me, and there's a total of $767,399 of these grant monies that they're sharing. Okay, and it breaks it down who gets what. And one of the surprising things is I want to know how the hell the Memphis Assembly Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses got 135,000 of those dollars.
Right? Like, what the French, y'all? Why?
Like,
that could have easily like done so much for like some kind of equitable program, at least, maybe. Damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, take away 135,000 from 767. I mean, that's a decent chunk of that money that they got.
Money they didn't need.
Not at all.
Schools need that money, yo.
Yeah.
I know schools that don't have like heating and don't have air conditioning and don't have like good windows. Like, it's just,
and especially in Tennessee.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
It's got to be not good.
No, not at all.
No.
So, I mean, yes, I know there's grants out there you can apply for, anybody can apply for and everything. And I'm sure they apply for everything they can get. This was just one that was leaked online that they did get. And it was quite a chunk of money. And it's like, they really are trying every way they can to grab money from our hard-earned tax dollars.
Sorry. Right. No, honestly, dude, that shit pisses me off because that is just like a little peek into the disgusting things that our government allows money to be used for, right? Like, they will happily fund a freaking JW building for what? For some dudes to stand at a stage and tell people that they're pieces of shit, they're gonna fucking die if they don't do things right. Meanwhile, we're sending billions of dollars overseas to murder innocent children in Palestine and Sudan and Congo and elsewhere.
Yeah.
Oh God, like, I want to like, it makes you want to rage every day that we are paying for the destruction of other people's culture, like Joe and Fran. It's cultural appropriation, bro.
Yeah. And, most of the people in this country do not support that, but yet you got these rich people that I'm sure are being bought off somehow to send this off to these places.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I could see
I-
that happening, fixing it up just so that because they've done it before to other Kingdom Halls, got it prepared for renovation to be sold.
Fix it and flip it.
Yeah, they're flippers now, man.
Yeah. Well, I got some flippers for them.
And magicians, because they do like the sleight of hand.
Yeah.
And they can just change positions and
Yeah.
nobody knows. Like, oh, well, we had to sell that property, but we're building this property here. So don't worry about that property because this one's more important. And then, when 10 years, when that one sold, and then they're doing that same thing over and over, getting millions and millions and millions from selling these properties. They've poured so much, all the work and effort that the JWs, the members, poured into it for free. Now,
Well, I mean,
pure bottom line for them, pure cash
even with building materials being relatively expensive, if you take out the labor fees for people, you're still getting a cheap ass building.
Yeah.
So you already have
labor right
equity
now,
in it the moment it's built.
because I imagine, right? Wait, for real. Can we think about that for a second? Especially in New York, because isn't that union work? So do they have to have union workers there, or is everything literally?
No, they don't have to have union members, but they do have a lot of stronger unions.
Because I would imagine that a union worker is getting paid a pretty buck per hour in New York.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're having
Especially-
your people do it for free, that's actually a shit ton of money that you're saving.
Especially in construction, if you're a contractor, especially a traveling contractor,
Right.
you're on the high end of the pay scale
Yeah.
for workers. Okay. And
they got to stay somewhere. You know what I mean? If they're coming in from elsewhere, need to have somewhere to stay. They need to get paid, a stipend to eat. Like there's so much that goes into that as well.
They call that per diem. So
yeah,
you get your base rate is usually higher. So let's just say you're making $40 an hour, right, to work there for whatever skilled trade you have, right? Then you get a per diem, and I would say on average you're getting about $100 a day per diem to cover your expenses for food and lodging and all that, which all that money is tax free for the worker, which is great.
right.
And then if you have your local workers that are getting paid less, say they're getting paid $20, $25 an hour, but you could see how much money in just a week that would save you in labor by having your people do it for free.
Absolutely, man. That's going to be a large portion.
Absolutely, girlfriend. We absolutely were.
And it's just so funny because I used to think, oh, slavery ended. No, it just changed. Like, remember what I said? It just changed hands. They just made slavery legal by sending people to prison for the most stupidest asinine things, using it just as a way to make money, to house people for a little while, let them back out, make more money off them, bring them back. It's, oh my gosh. And this whole system that the Jehovah's Witnesses have rolled out, and I'm sure other religions have done the same exact model. You just get your bees to do the work for you. That's what they're for. Yep. And the queen, i.e. the elites, sit up in their pretty little white tower, just moving us around like chess pieces, scammed into slavery. Joe and Fran, y'all are just, they're on it. They are on it. They see it like it is.
We have a comedian today.
Am I the spider? I might just
always slinging something. Exactly.
The hash slinging slasher. Just kidding. Call it 20 workers on the site. $200 a day times 5 days is $20K. Oh wait, hold on. Call it 20 workers on site at $200 a day times 5. 20,000, right?
Yeah.
Damn. That's.
Take care, LOH. Have a great day.
Yeah, we're going anyway. We're going okay.
Yeah, we got to get off anyways. We're just rambling on here.
thank you guys though, and please, join the server if you want to have a chat with us. If you want to talk about some different shows, if you have anything, just let us know.
Or if you have a news story that you want us to
Yeah.
talk about, send it our way.
Mhm.
The email for the show is apostateweekly@gmail.com. And on the Apostate Weekly YouTube about section, it's there too. So don't worry about forgetting it. Just go to there and you'll be able to find it. And but that's all we have for this week. So thank you everybody for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to get this out to the YouTube algorithms. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family. And as always, apostate your way, everybody.
Listen, obey, and be blessed.
Yep. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.